All right, you guys, last one before lockout. In we are for analyzing my team trades and also the alternates here. And a fairly simple and stable one for my team this week. I've been telling everyone to pick up Tohu for ages, and then finally the opportunity pops up where you get a couple of those mid-ranges that you can trade out and bring these guys in. Obviously, I spoke about in the previous video around the cheapies, just with trading out these guys, it's a little bit of a weird week. Like, there's every chance that they could come back next week and be back in the team if it's an injury, or if the player replacing them, like a Simpkin or something, doesn't do as well. But there's also a very, very high chance that they're going to be out of the team for the next bunch of weeks and don't get their chance again. And so I've decided to move Ricky on and also Little in this team to allow myself to get Tohu Harris and Simpkin for this one here. And that puts me down to 26 trades. So it means I've only banked 2 for the year, and hopefully with how the team's set up in this week there, that I'll be able to keep this running for the next few weeks. Hopefully there's no more surprises come team list or anything like that. But I'm really happy with how the team's looking at this stage. 33k remaining, ranked 2242. We have Terps, Welch, Watson, Harris up top. We got Crichton for Fafita as a strong edge pairing. And this current week I don't have any cover. Although the good thing now is I'll have Crichton and Harris who I can interchange up and down through the mids and the edge. But after this week, Schuster will have his dual player. So I'll be able to use Schuster on the bench or as cover as an interchange, and then play Foggs in the half position, for example. And I've also got Walker sitting there as well. So really happy with the cover I now have in the middle and the edge. We've obviously got plenty of cover in the hooker position. We've got cover in halves. Our centres don't have cover at the moment. So the centre and the wing fullback position we don't. And these are some trades that I was thinking about, was possibly bringing in a Latrell or Adam Dewey, these types of players. But I just decided that it'd be smarter to get a banker, 60 points, 58, whatever he's going to get each week in Tohu Harris. I think he's a very, very safe option and someone that you're definitely going to keep for the rest of the year. He has a really good buy schedule. He's only going to miss one game out of that sort of 5 to 6 week period there. And I just felt like there's no point trying to do bits and pieces, because I would have had to make 2 trades anyway. Like, I was thinking, how can I get Little out, for example, or just Ricky, and trade him to a gun player? And I was looking around that price point, around that 500 odd, and most of the guys that I was looking for were in the high 500s. Like, you had Latrell there somewhere, wherever he is. Dewey's at 606. Latrell's up there too high as well. But down in that 500 sort of mark, there weren't a lot of options. If we're looking here, a lot of these guys aren't really jumping off the page, are they? No one really there that I think is going to be a keeper or anything like that. So it's like, well, I kind of have to trade down to Simpkin. And the good thing with him is he's that third guy that was been spoken about a lot in preseason, and all of the other rookies coming in haven't been spoken about. So if he can play well, obviously has a tough assignment this week with the Souths, but if he can play well going over the next bunch of weeks, then I think he can make a lot of cash, and is really awesome as a cash out option at 228 here. So you'd expect him, if he does okay, averages somewhere in the 30s, and he makes a couple 100k and allows me to bring in a banker in Tohu Harris there as a 60-point player. So really happy with that. Over the next week or so, I'll be looking to bring in one, either centre or wing fullback, or even a dual would be delightful that I could use as cover. But that was also part of the reason why I kept Tessie on the emergencies, just for the fact that if he does get a chance to come back, if there's an injury to one of those guys and he ends up getting his spot back, then I'll be able to use him as cover for both the centre and wing fullback. And if he doesn't come back in the next week or two, I'll be bringing in some cover for those 2 positions there. But Oppa, Manu, Pap, Laurie, and Tuivasa-Sheck all doing fairly well at the moment and happy with their output. In terms of our interchange bench, we've got Brayley, Foggs, Alvaro, and Simpkin at the moment. I'm banking on around 50 odd minutes for Simpkin, and you'd imagine about around 40 points for him. Walker, I'm deciding to leave out of the team this week, and you'll see that through a lot of this, both my squads here. It's just up against the Storm. I can't see him having an incredible game. I was very worried about him last game. He's only on about 10 or 11 at half time and wasn't really involved. It took 3 try assists and a try for him to get to 50 in that second half. So I'm worried this week that he might end up with like a 30. So I've decided to go a safer route with someone like Alvaro and Simpkin. I'm not sure at the moment if I go Utukamanu or Simpkin. And also with Alvaro is just the fact if Maguire comes into the squad. So I'm going to have to look at that, coming up close to the game. It might be worth playing Utukamanu instead of either Simpkin or Alvaro. But I'll keep that keep that in my mind there going forward. And Spencer, yeah, we're expecting probably somewhere in the low 30s for him, but if he gets more, even better. So that's the team at the moment. I'm pretty happy with how it's structured. Obviously, a couple more trades, but brings in another keeper. And our keeper numbers now, we've got Tohu, Crichton, and Fafita for 3, 4 for Cleary, Manu's a keeper, 5, Pap and Roger for 7. We've got Foggs as a keeper and Brayley as a keeper there. So we've got 9 there. And I think I left off Brayley as a keeper in the people's squad. But 9 keepers is pretty strong and a lot of money makers. And I think we've got just over 12 million in cash at the moment. So happy with how it's looking. We're improving on the ranks. Let's see if we can have another really good week. And I hope we can. So moving on to the alternates team now, and how we're looking here is ranked at 2851. And the 2 trades I've gone for is actually a little bit different. Obviously, Simkin I have brought in as well. And there was a couple I was looking at. I was like, well, I can actually go a Ponga, for example. Another one was obviously Tohu again. I can make the same trades, but I made this as the alternates team for a reason, and I don't go the exact same as what I do in the normal team. Someone I'm really interested in, I think I've decided to miss him. I had him in the team before, and I've decided to leave him out this week. But it's Mitch Moses. I think he's going to be a really good option over the next bunch of weeks. Yes, he's had a head injury assessment game and also a 41 last week. But they've got Raiders this week, which you still do well against. But next week and the week after, I believe he's got the Dogs and the Broncos. So some really cool games. And I'm actually thinking about picking him up next week. We're not sure how Brooks is going to go at the moment. I've got Brooks, Schuster, and Walker as my 3. With Schuster going into, can get the dual position for the edge. And I'm really tempted to be picking up Moses next week. And this week, I decided to go for someone that I'm really enjoying watching play at the moment. And that is, you haven't seen him yet. What do you reckon? What's the guess? I'll give you 3, 2, 1. Oh, here he is. I believe he's definitely a keeper, 50-point keeper. On the wing there is something different for the type of player that I'm usually going for. My hope with him is that this week I can bring him in and he goes absolute bonkers against the Broncos, picks up a great score and propels my rank this week. But also, going forward, how's he going to go over the Origin period? I'd say there's a smaller chance that he makes Origin, but that's my thoughts on that. But then, in terms of our cover now, bringing in a wing fullback this week gave me cover in that position. Obviously, I could play around with Rapana and stuff like that, but I think that it's worth just bringing in these types of guys. We're not exactly sure how Laurie's going to go long term, so it'd be nice to really have that wing fullback set over that period. And I think that's a really smart move there. And then look to bring in a Moses next week, whether that's for a Spencer or any of these types of guys here that are peaking, or if there's an injury next week, then I could trade a Moses in there and get his amazing scores and have him as a keeper. And I think just slowly building these types of guys that are probably around that 55, 60-point scorers in the alternates team. We don't obviously have a Cleary at the moment. So we're making our team up of all these types of guys with Twile and all that. So I think that's the best way to get as many keepers as possible over this next period and really dominate over the bye schedule. I was tempted to not trade much at all, but this team has banked 4 trades so far. So really happy with that. This is where the team's at the moment. I think I'm going to be playing Laurie this week. If I didn't have a Rapana or something like that, I could play Averillo this week. I think it's the Cowboys. If you have him, I think you can almost play him there. Same thing. I'm leaving Walker out at this stage. I just think him and Laurie probably have I think Laurie's going to be a little bit safer. He scored pretty well most games, but up against the South, they might have a tough time of it. Braylon, Mihalik, and Simkin there. So that's the thoughts on the 2 teams, guys. If you're liking this, please hit like, hit subscribe. Really appreciate all the love and support so far, and we'll see you during the week for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night wrap up. So good luck with your trades this week. We'll see you in the next one.